Okay, Fender Custom Shop. Right now we're gonna cut right to it. These are our 10 most asked questions when someone is placing an order for a Fender Custom Shop. Pretty exciting.
It's very exciting.
We build a lot of custom shops.
Yes.
So just a quick precursor, like even last night I put in an order for about 38 guitars last night.
Just a few,
It's
handful.
Custom shops alone. So we do this a lot. And that's not all for like, that's a lot of work to get to that point, but that was just all put on the same sort of day, and they're going to go processing in through the next few weeks. Yep. But we do quite a bit on a regular process, and we love it. It's our favorite part of the gig.
Agreed.
I do love it when I get to get on the phone with someone and really get to detail oriented. But let's dig into what they are, because if you're thinking about it, this might be the video for you.
There you go.
Okay, number one.
Master built or team built?
This is a very important question.
It is.
It comes with a price tag of, we'll say numbers now, but it comes with a price tag of, close to $3,000 more.
Just up to master built, yes.
This will change as inflation keeps going, or if the cat apocalypse happens, it'll drop. But what is the difference?
Fingers crossed.
And should I do it?
Right.
Are the two most important. Like the difference, A, is cost. We already addressed that. But the difference is, like, if you go to master build, well, why should you go to master build?
I mean, there are some options that are only available.
Correct.
Master built. You got to have stainless steel frets, or you maybe
Scalloped fretboard.
Right. Certain pickup options. But just knowing that one guy has this vision with you and is building your guitar and is going to talk to you about it. It's a bit of a little different experience.
And that's the sort of the main aspect is like having one person that you're going to have direct contact with. It's sort of a three-way conversation.
Right.
The shop, you and this one builder will be communicating during the process of this build, and you and the shop will be primarily talking before it, obviously, in connection with the master builder, getting this all sort of linked up.
Now, and that is with us, because there is an option to have a master built and not have them contact you. And I'm sure there are places that just don't worry about that and just, you get your master built from whoever.
Or other shops, like I know that they just assign you a master builder.
Right.
Like, here it is, because this guy's the shortest on the queue.
But we try to make it.
Well, each one,
you pick your builder, you talk to them. That's true.
Like it used to be like, I'm going to talk about Ron just for a minute. Like it used to be like, if you just wanted crazy inlays or something, you talk to Ron or Yuri, but Ron's Relic work lately.
It's fantastic.
It's been off the charts, and it's that's something I didn't see coming. Like I knew he had it in him. I knew he could beat up a guitar well, but no, that shell pink Strat he did recently, I was like, oh,
really good. Yeah.
But I'm a shell pink lover. Anyway, so and it's a different process. It's very personal. They're all personal.
Yeah.
Now, is a master build better than a team build? That's to the eye of the beholder. I have some team builds that I absolutely adore.
I mean, I was going to say the problem. It's not really a problem. The thing about it is the team builds are really good, and they keep getting better. Do you know what I mean? So every time I think, this master build is just head and shoulders above, we get in a team build that I'm like, whoa, sort of blown away by. So I would say it's just there's subtle little touches and little things that show up in the master builds that are like the signature of that builder that maybe you don't see in the team builds. But team builds are amazing guitars.
Number two. We're going to sort of pair two things into this one. It's the cost and the timeline. So the timeline varies, and it's changed dramatically since this whole new world order that we live in. It used to be 6 to 8 months for a team build.
Right.
Now we're sort of more like 15 to 18 months for a team build, realistically. Master builds can range anywhere from 14 months at the shortest, if you have a great relationship with the shop and the builder, to all the way up to 68 months.
I've put a few of those in lately.
Pause there for a minute.
Yeah.
So you're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, that can be 6 years of waiting for a guitar. And well, what happens if you die or the shop blows up or the master builder dies? These are all things you just have to take a risk. It's like rolling the dice. It gets reassigned. If the master builder leaves or something, it's going to get reassigned to another builder. Your choice.
Right.
But that's kind of what happens there. So that's timeline is all over the place.
Yeah.
Cost, this is the big part about cost, is we'll get into like numbers and stuff with the guitar, but people ask, well, if I order it now, it's going to take me 6 years, is the price going to keep going up with inflation?
Nope.
No, it's locked in. There's a locked in price. Thank the gods above, because it does take a long time, and we're talking on average, a year and a half to build a guitar now, and from what we've seen, prices have gone up 2 to 3 times in a year and a half's time.
But yeah, once we send in and we get the actual quote from the custom shop, you were locked into that. You pay your deposit, and we actually put you in the queue. You're locked into that price from there.
And the general price for a team build is going to be range anywhere from, I'd say the absolute lowest is right around $4. That's sort of not being seen much anymore. All the way up to maybe $6,800. Like for a team, like you can go all the way up there. You could go above.
You could, yeah.
It depends what you do on it.
And the 4 is really like you order that base model and you don't change anything. You know what I mean? Like
no hand wounds.
Right.
Not much of a Relic at all.
Right.
Not doing anything crazy with the hardware, the Relics and their finishes or the wiring, keeping it pretty basic, like a raw, like stock, sort of like 64 Strat, Sunburst, NOS. You're gonna be right in that sort of 4 range. Just to give you a ballpark. And this is in the year 2022. So talk to us next year and see what it says. Number 4. No. Number 3.
Pickups.
Okay.
Should you have pickups or no?
Or put mirrors there or ashtrays.
I don't plug in. I just play on the couch.
No, pickups are like the engine of the guitar.
Yeah, man.
So that's a huge part. Hand wound, non-hand wound, Josefinas, non-Josefinas. And then every year the options are limitless on pickups. So it's gonna, you're going from teles to strats to you can add the single coils to adding the humbuckers to add P90s.
Like I just did one with the cool, like the Dave Mustaine Thrash Factor set. Like we're building a Strat with that, which is kind of awesome. You know what I mean?
I've got a Ron Thorne, one that I'm building for this awesome dude up in Vermont. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be yellow, totally off the walls, different. I'm gonna call it like Thor's hammer. That's just that's what I call it in my mind when I'm thinking about it. And I think about the builds that we build on with these customers, and they become friends too. Like I was talking to a cat last night at 10 o'clock, and he just started off as a customer, and we're talking about our kids or something.
It's it's just really fun, and it's fun when you become friends and you wait like the year and you kind of chat. And then like I have one of my guys, Robert, his guitar's coming. Should be any day. Probably by the time this goes out, it might actually be here. So it's fun to see.
It's like seeing the birth of a baby.
Yes.
And sometimes your baby's really ugly, and you have to be like, no, it's
not. Why did you do that?
The baby you thought you would have. No, but the pickups, like that's something we go really into detail about. We're going to talk to you about what kind of player you are, what you want the guitar to sound like, what do you want to get out of it. Are you an aggressive player, a soft picker? What artist do you like? It matters. And I even do lots of mixed stagger pickups when I start talking to someone and getting deep. Yeah. And generally across the board, if you want a 64 Strat, hand wound 64s, that's the way to go. But if you're like, I like Jimi Hendrix's tone here, and I like Richard Lloyd's here, and like Stevie Wonder's here, I'll be like, hand wound 69, hand wound 6063, hand wound Texas Special.
There you go.
Or that there's all sorts, and you can do that. It's really fun to do. What's the difference between like, we're putting Seymour Duncans in there, or like the Seth Lovers or the Antiquity, and like it matters that you're talking to a group of people that know what they're talking about. Yeah,
well, like my favorite combo tele pickups. I not push this on people. I suggest this all the time. Is I really love the hand wired 51 no-caster in the bridge and the twisted tele in the neck on teles. I think it's magical.
That's funny because like I like the hand wound Blackguard, the crushed a lot of the time too. Like
that's also a great option.
It's a little less bright.
Yeah.
And a little more woody. So, but Jonathan plays differently than I do too. So that's what matters. So just for my own thoughts, where are we at? We're at number 4.
The year of the build.
The year of the build. So what year is your guitar spec'd out? Are you getting a 1959 Strat? Are you getting a 64? And like, does that matter?
Yeah, I bet it does.
It does. It matters for, obviously the obvious choices. If we're in early 50s, you're going to be using an ash.
Ash versus alder.
You can use ash across the board. You can have a 64 Strat in ash though if you want to. That happens. You can choose some other woods as well. That's not a more common question though, so we didn't put that in the list.
No.
But on the year it does matter. It matters on the contours of the body.
That's right. It changes a little.
Have you noticed this when you?
I have noticed this.
I've noticed it too. And what's really fun about the custom shop is even if I get 2 1964 team builds, they're going to be slightly curved and carved a bit differently.
Right.
Yeah, because there's going to be hand carving on after the CNC process of just cutting out the body blocks. But the body blocks, that's a fun way to say it. But no, I've noticed that because I've comped a lot, and like this horn's a little different. I get excited. We're nerds.
Yeah,
okay, what's next? This is a big one. Number 5. Halfway there, kids.
Good old neck profiles.
This is up there with the pickups.
Yes.
We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. Unless you just have I want a 1056V. Most people don't know what that is.
Some do. Some come in, they're like, bam, I love this, I want this. But even those guys, sometimes we get to talking about it.
They don't want that.
and we end up changing it, yeah. So
no, and it's really important. Like, obviously it's the most contact you have with the guitar is right there.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, I'm still a strong believer in more wood, more tone. It's like there's this magic. Every guitar with a beefy neck I've played has more bass response and it has more sustain. It's just, and like, well, it could be the setup or something. No, it's just something I've noticed about.
That's not science, Baxter.
I know
it's not science.
I don't need the science. Every guitar I've ever played, like
your own experience. Yeah.
I'm very old at this point as far as guitar playing years. It's like dog years, for a long time. But no, there's so many intricacies to the neck profile, the carve of the neck. Do you like rolled edges? Do you obviously your rosewood or maple? That's pretty obvious answer if you want that. But the carve anywhere from like the big U's to the sort of the oval C's, which is kind of the smallest, I'd say. To one of my favorites, the 63C.
Oh, I really like the 63C too.
A little bit bigger than the oval C, a little bit smaller than the large C.
Large C is maybe my favorite.
It's not as large as you think.
It's not.
It gets large around that 9th fret area.
Yeah.
But it's a magical.
Just feels good. Just comfy.
But again, like, we've had lots of experiences holding them, and we like to impart that knowledge and sort of figure out what, like, do you play with a thumb? Do you not play with a thumb? Like, these are things we ask a lot, so it's important.
It's tricky, I think, just to look in the book and be like, 0.09 at the, like, what does that mean?
Well, like,
so,
and that's something we sort of help decipher when you're talking with us on the
Right.
phone or on the emails. And then when we do find a neck carve you like, well, I don't want it to be too big. The joy of this is we can actually spec out the exact, like, micrometer type numbers that we want from, like, the width at the 1st fret to the 12th fret. Even if you want, like, a 52U style, a big neck, but you want to have a 0.88 and go all the way to like a 1.0. Like, we can set it sort of smaller here than it would standard, like might be more like a 0.990 to like a 1.1 or something, or 1.01, or just like, we can change that. And that's what's fun about really digging into the details of how you play.
True.
That was cool.
So there you go.
Take on number 6, man.
Fritz. Lots of discussion about this one.
There is. It's a pretty, like, once you decide, and you move on. But, like, what do you play?
I tend to like medium jumbos. I like the narrow talls too. I mean, I'm not that picky. I just don't like tiny little mini frets.
And it matters, like, because you're a more heavier hander player than I am. Like, you get refrets every once in a while. I don't. Like, 6105 is the most popular fret wire by the custom shop. I love the medium vintage frets as well. Yeah. Like, jumbos are a bit too much for me. But again, I play very daintily.
You do.
I'm a dainty man.
Like Brian May, just skipping around the fretboard.
Is he a dainty player, you think?
I feel like he is.
I always feel like he's like, he's just so, like, I don't know, I feel like he's so powerful.
I mean, he is, in a dainty way.
But
daintily powerful. You and Brian May.
Let's get into fun stuff now for a bit. We're round the curve. We're on the downslope now. Number 7, the Relic.
No.
Not to Relic.
Or lack thereof.
Or just nothing on there at all, just natural. But Relic there's so many different degrees of relicing. We start all the way at NOS.
Yep.
We into Closet Classic. Closet Classic / NOS is a hybrid. Closet Classic with like slightly aged hardware. Or you can go into like, Deluxe Closet Classic. Then you get into
so many.
Flash code. That's another thing we get into in a minute though. But that's sort of part of a Relic. It's one of the Relic patterns. There's Journeyman Relic.
Journeyman.
Relic. Heavy Relic. Like super heavy Relic, and then you can get to like shredded. That's not a real thing, but you can, when you get into master build,
you can suggest. And all of them, you have choices like, do you want Closet Classic hardware with a Relic? You know what I mean? It's just,
do you
there's
want
lots of
brand new
things.
hardware, and all this stuff matters too.
I mean, I've done some Journeyman Relics with a Relic on the neck. So we say Relic, but Relic is one of the tiers. You know what I mean? So that they don't have the finish on the back of the neck.
And each
like
one of
hybrids.
these degrees of Relic cost different.
Sure.
Too. And like it's. And it has gone up in price over the years, obviously, as everything has. But it just depends on what you like. And when you get into it, too, like something you might not know, like with us in particular, in our relationship with Custom Shop, like you can request certain aspects of the Relic to be in there or not. Like if you like checking, if you like the divots, if you like to be pulled off a little bit here towards that area, or if you want some strange areas. Like you can't get too team build, you have to be careful about how detailed you get because
That's
you try
right.
to like skate the line before getting into master build. But
once you go in that master build, send reference. If you have found a guitar that you want this kind of idea, they're not gonna do it perfectly.
You get pretty darn close.
But pretty darn close.
But the team at the custom shop, and I'm talking about just the initialization team, I'm going to call them, just because I think that's a fun word. But like the guys that we talk to that are helping us get these guitars sort of put together in the initial phases are second to none. They're wonderful. We communicate with them at least once a day. It's usually like 6 times a day. They hate us.
Good old Ed.
Yeah, it was Kurt for a long time.
Yeah.
And they bounced around like, oh God, we can't take casino anymore. So they have to send us a new person.
That's right.
Well, because we're very active. Like all of your names are in the custom shop. Like whereas that's not normal. We're very much involved with like, so we're talking about builds like, oh, is that like, is that Butters' build you're talking about? I have a guy named Butters. He lives in England. God bless him. I hope he just got married. I don't know. We were just emailing yesterday. I haven't checked the emails yet. I'm sorry. But he's like building a guitar for Butters, or Kurt used to give these guys these like radically funny names. Like, go get deep on that. And yeah, we had like a Purple Dragon Mystic Destroyer or something at one point. I don't remember what it was, or like the Phallic Warrior was something, and that's what's written on your floor traveler.
There you go.
It's disturbing. So
a little bit.
That's sort of the idea of the relics. Number 8.
The finish. Which finish do you want?
And that's the lacquer, the poly, or the flash coat. And there's really not many requests for poly in the custom shop. I've had a couple.
It's been really few and far between. I do get the WLS, the undercoat sometimes.
Yeah, the WLS, that's part of it too. You can request that.
But the vast majority of mine are just straight up nitro lacquer.
I'd say 98%. Every once in a while, if you're having like this really crazy artisan type piece where you don't want it to age,
then you want to have poly.
Or you're going for like a late sort of 60s, 70s style to the T, and you want that sort of thick 12-pound telly.
You could. Someone does. Someone out there.
I just people just don't. You should buy one. It's less than the custom shop. Trust me. Well, it used to be, not anymore. They used to be giving them away. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's caught. Now, number 9 is maybe the most important thing.
Color
of your guitar. And you think it's a simple thing, but let's say you want Sherwood Green Metallic. There's so many variations of that color. And
aged, faded, you can
super aged,
super faded.
And like, well, what's the difference between like, faded and aged? I'm like, well, faded has more white mixed into it. It's kind of like, that's the root of it. And, aged has a little bit more of like this color compound into it. And then they pull it off a little bit more with the aged.
Right.
There's like the nicotine finish too, which like that's in master build, which kind of browns it up a bit like you've been in a smoking club. But
Vincent does those like so good. I mean, the guy is just amazing looking.
I hate him. But anyway, whatever.
It's like all the coolness without the smell.
I know, because we had these 3 guitars in the shop like earlier, and it's making me sick. Like they were brought up for restrings, like I can taste the nicotine on it, and it's like I'm spitting.
It's in your hands.
Yeah, I touched it by accident. It's horrible. Anyway, the color, there's so many variations you can do on it, and it's fun to really dig deep into that. There's colors you probably don't even know exist.
All sorts of things. You can even color match when you get into the master build. I've had a few of those where people sent in colors. I sent that in, and then,
Are we doing that for the pink one?
Yes. I have an awesome sort of like cherry blossom Strat. It's going to be amazing.
Who's doing that one? Who's building it?
My good buddy Kevin. Oh, who do you mean, the master builder?
Yeah, the master builder.
It's Ron.
I thought it was Ron. I was like Kenneth. I was mixing up Dennis. I was like, Kevin Galuska? Dennis Galuska. Sorry.
Kevin is going to be the fantastic recipient.
Kevin Galuska is Dennis Galuska's twin brother. Identical twins. So at the shop, when they're working, they sort of switch places sometimes, and no one at the shop knows this. So the people at the custom shop don't watch our videos, so they don't. Dennis and Kevin Galuska.
You never know.
It's a switch.
You just never know.
It's cool. I would like that they got on each other's like shoulders.
That'd be really fun.
And, like, wore a
trench coat. And really tall.
Anyway, helpless.
But you can do color over color. You can do sparkle colors. There's all sorts of things.
Number 10, wiring.
Nope.
It's just, and this is like, this comes up as far as like, do you want, the modified wiring number 2? Do you want the vintage wiring? Do you want like modern wiring? Do you want the 3-way switch?
The gut bucket. There's all the cool, or the grease bucket.
Grease bucket.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of bucket?
I always wish it was the gut bucket. Like the gut bucket was, but no, it's the grease bucket. The treble saver. Yeah, there's all sort of cool things you can do.
And that is
number 1,
something.
wire number 2.
And Jonathan and I are different in that in how we. So when you're working with one of us, like, because you use pedals and you use like sort of things like. So I'm more of like, less things in the way of the circuit, the better. I've said that a lot, and that's not necessarily true. It's just I like to prevent problems, because the more things you have, the more things.
There's some truth.
And there's the more like circuitry there, like the more it's pulling, and I just like straight tone. That's why an Esquire is amazing.
It's true.
I don't believe I don't own one yet. I can't believe it.
I kind of like the
one Esquire I fell in love with was at Wilcutt Guitars in Lexington, Kentucky, and it was a Billy Gibbons limited custom shot with the pinstriping. Oh, I didn't even know what an Esquire was at that point. I was like, what is this thing? It's got stripes on it. And the guy was like, it's Billy Gibbons edition. I'm like, this is amazing. You tell me more. He's like, well, it's Billy Gibbons. I'm like, cool. Thank you for the help. And I just went in my little closet and played some more. But it was an amazing experience.
That's fantastic.
It was fantastic. It was I really enjoyed it. No, so it's
Esquires. Maybe we should get matching Esquires.
Would you do that? Would you get an Esquire? You'd play the hell out of an Esquire.
Yeah, I would.
We should do like but contrasted.
Yes.
Like we sort of if I'm doing like shell pink with like white or something, you would do like white with shell pink pinstriping or something. Did this just happen? Make it so. And I would even be willing to go gold hardware on those.
I not generally a gold hardware fan, but I would do that.
I didn't used to be, but then there's this one Yuri that Braxton has.
There's a few that have won me over. Yeah, it's true. Not on everything, but on that, I would do it.
I used to not like it, but I used to also not like fried okra, but now I do.
It's true. Or pickles.
Pickles are tight.
And now I'm like, pickles.
The wiring has been. So some of the bonus things too is like, do you get updates on the build? Is asked a lot. That's and like in general, no, you do not. You put it in the queue and then bam, you have a guitar. Unless it's a master build.
Right. Team built. Pretty much, we put it in the queue. Yeah. Pretty much that's it.
But we will check on it if you're done. But we will not check on it like if it's like it's been a month. You're like, hey, any updates? Like nothing's happened. Nothing happens for the first year. Usually,
or 6 months or whatever.
I mean,
but depends on when your data's BS.
I do check off record. It's on record now because I'm saying it. I do check on status once we get to a certain point in there, just to make sure everything's going along as we want it to, and it's looking right. And then because once it starts production too, it's not going to be done in a week.
It takes a bit.
It's still months out. Like, why not? It should be done. Because they're working on the neck. And they built that neck, and they might do a batch of 5 necks.
Things have to cure. It's just,
It's like pickles.
Yeah.
Back to pickles. What do you think of this build is a common question we get. And what do you think of what I'm putting in? I get that all the time when we're talking about, what do you think? And you might think that's not an important question, because the main thing is, but it is. The main thing is we want you to be happy, and it's your guitar. We try to help guide you. We don't want to influence you if it's something you love that we would necessarily wouldn't play. But we will be very honest if we think you're going off the rails.
Well, it's just like you and you said that you and I are different players. So obviously we're going to have slightly different perspectives, but we're always trying to figure out what's going to work for you. Like I know a guitar for Baxter is going to need to be a little different than a guitar that I would necessarily gig with. But so we're trying to get to the bottom of, for you, for the player that you've described, what's going to work. That's why getting you on the phone or a Zoom meeting is so important, so that we can sort of suss out some of those things and figure them out. And I think both of us are going to speak up if we think something's not going to work together.
Yes.
If we think a wiring thing is weird, or hey, I didn't really love this pickup, or
I've definitely done that more often than not. And I think it always works out better that way. And even if they end up sticking with it, I want to have that dialogue. And I want to know why you want to do X, Y, and Z, and why I think X, Y, and Z might be a bad choice. Maybe it's just do X and Y and leave Z out. And so that's a common question. Color of the hardware. The cases, I guess.
Cases are a thing.
That's the thing. Like, if you say early 50s, you're gonna get a tweed case. If you say the late 60s, or early 60s anyway, you're gonna get the brown case usually.
Yep.
But you can select whatever case you want.
Yeah, if you tell us, hey, I don't want a tweed case, cool, we'll get you.
If you want a tweed case and you get a 1978 guitar, you can get a tweed case.
Yeah,
where you want. But I hope that helps.
I think maybe
our top 10 was pretty good. You got 1, master build or team build. 2, cost and timeline. 3, pickups. 4, year of the build. 5, neck profiles. 6, frets. 7, the Relic. 8, finish. 9, color, and 10 was wiring, and the rest is all bonus. I do hope it helps. We would love to help you with your next build. If not, find a custom shop dealer, a showcase dealer preferably. They usually know what they're doing better, or more betterer.
More betterer.
Because they do it a lot. And, you know, reach out to them and like talk with them. Don't be scared of it. Even if you're not ready to buy it, we don't mind. We help people buy guitars at other shops all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Literally every day. We're helping people suss out a build at another store. And I love sending them to shops that I love and respect. And you can always call us and ask if you have questions on that. Even if this is years down the road, we'd like to be part of your musical journey. Let's make it fun.
Unless we're dead.
Unless we're dead.
If we're dead.
That's the real like cat apocalypse does occur.
Yeah.
I think it's coming soon.
Could happen any day.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. Be quiet now, crazy person.
Sorry.
Click subscribe, bell, all that. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.